Without further ado, I've brought together exactly 100 interesting and sometimes even unusual facts about the Nether. You're gonna love it. So put your thumbs up and write in the comments how many facts you already knew, as well as the possible topic for the next similar video. Let's get started. For the first time, something similar to the Nether appeared on January 7th, 2010. That's practically 14 years ago. Back then, Notch decided to add a new kind of map as a joke: Hell. The main feature was a complete decrease in daylight, all water was replaced by lava, and a lot of mushrooms grew on the surface. The Nether is actually a completely separate dimension. A lot of people believe that the universe of Minecraft looks like this. On top is the End, in the middle is the overworld, and under is the Nether. But this is a misconception. Each dimension of Minecraft is independent of each other. The third ever LEGO Minecraft set was dedicated to the Nether. It was released in September 2013. It contained 3 minifigures, 2 ghosts and 1 zombie pigman with a golden sword. Nether was invented by Notch only and exclusively for fast travel. He liked the Wheel of Time series of books by Robert Jordan. There were special paths, which are sort of trails of a dangerous transportation system. People there could travel great distances in days instead of weeks. The first time people learned about the addition of a new dimension was from Notch's Tumblr. He posted this picture that announced the Halloween update. It described that we would see a new Hell dimension where we would walk only 10 meters, but in the overworld it will be equal to 100 meters. Many people still refer to the Nether as Hell, although that's not correct. Originally, Notch did not want to use religious names that already existed. Notch couldn't decide on a name for the dimension. He wanted to name the Nether Shift or Nexus, but those names didn't seem too Minecraft-like to him, whatever that meant. He ended up giving it the name Nether on the day the Halloween update was released. The first mobs that appeared in this dimension were ghosts and zombie pigmen. Yeah, that's what they were called back then. Lava in the overworld and in the End dimension spills over 4 blocks, while in the Nether it spills over as much as 8 blocks. The Nether has become part of Marvel, if you can put it that way, of course. The thing is that in the TV series Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., in the episode Girl in the Flower Dress, Gemma Siemens mentioned a zombie pigman.
Scrubbed clean, actually. Nothing much on him. He's got no family records, his apartment's under an alias, and he plays a lot of Minecraft where he runs a rather nasty mob.
What, is it zombie?
Zombie pigman.
The lava spreading rate in the Nether is about 4 blocks per second. In the overworld and in the End, it's 0.6 blocks. Be very careful when mining netherite. As I said before, the zombie pigman was added to the game by Notch himself. He invented them. But the texture for this mob was created by a certain player under the nickname Xephobia. As a sign of gratitude, Notch added a signature to the texture, in which he wrote, "Thanks Xephobia." Some items and blocks do not function in the Nether. We can place a bet, but if we try to sleep on it, it will explode. The clocks there do not show time, they run from side to side. Maps won't help either, they won't display the terrain correctly, but markers work with no problem. For a long period of time, the Nether portals had to be built following a clear pattern, 4 by 5 blocks of obsidian. But since version 1.7.2, the developers have changed this rule. The minimum remains the same, but the maximum portal is 23 by 23 blocks of obsidian. Everyone knows that not only players can pass through portals, but also mobs and block entities. But you can also move items, arrows, and even fireworks through them. The Nether is a rather dry place, therefore it's impossible to grow any crops there. To be more precise, it became impossible after version 1.15. The thing is that after this update, a wet sponge instantly becomes dry after placement. Before this version, the sponge could supply water to your crops in the Nether. On October 10th, 2010, exactly 13 years ago, Notch posted the first picture of the Nether. It showed the generation as well as the lava lakes. Notch decided to add a bad blowing feature to Nether only because he wanted to add a unique way to be respawned for each dimension. The Nether Star has immunity to all types of blast, but it's important to know that on top of that, it also has the longest period before despawning. That is, after it's dropped, you have about 10 minutes to pick it up. In Beta 1.3, the texture of Crying Obsidian appeared in the game. The block unfortunately did not become part of the game. Jeb talked about wanting to add it to the game as a way to respawn in the Nether. The texture was later removed from the game, and Jeb promised that once he would add it to the game. And so it turned out to reality. Crying Obsidian is needed to create the respawn anchor. Wither is the first boss mob to be summoned in the game using a special design. Jeb admitted that he was inspired by Terraria. It was in this game that he saw such mechanics of boss summoning. As you know, in Minecraft there are almost no hints and explanations of how to play, but the developers come up with different ways. For example, they added a special picture that shows the process of creating a build to summon Wither. At the time of making this video, there are as many as 23 achievements in Minecraft that are somewhat related to the Nether. The Wither skeletons were only added by Jeb to make it harder to obtain skulls to summon the Wither. He didn't originally plan on adding them. Wither's official and fully documented name is Simmons. Quinn Richter, an associate producer at Mojang Studios who works as the Minecraft Marketplace program manager, stated this in the 4th edition of Ask Mojang. If you create a cut red sandstone, you can see Wither's image on it. These blocks are also generated along with the Desert Temple. Why this happens, there's no official explanation. Before the full-fledged addition of Crying Obsidian to the Nether update, the development team considered obtaining it after being struck by lightning in a regular obsidian block, or by throwing it through a portal to the Nether. However, they chose to obtain this block through bartering with the piglins. Originally, when developing the Nether update, the developers also thought of adding another version of Obsidian, Cracked Obsidian. It was supposed to be found on the destroyed Nether portals. In the end, they abandoned this idea and chose to replace Cracked Obsidian with Crying Obsidian. That's not exactly a common fact, but Mojang partnered with Noble Collection to create a set of unusual chess pieces, called Heroes of the Overworld versus Hostile Mobs. The Wither serves as the king of the black pieces. The figures are made of plastic but in the style of stone marble. The price of the set is $89. The Wither skeletons have an 11% chance of appearing in the world of Minecraft with the sword in their left hand as their primary hand. At all other times, they only hold the sword in their right hand. Wither skeletons cannot appear with bows in their hands, unlike their close relatives from the overworld. But if you summon it with a command, then all the arrows it will shoot at the player will have the effect of fire, even if the bow was not enchanted. In October 2022, Mojang together with the Ravensburger company released the board game Portal Dash. It's a team game. The main goal and task is to get out of the Nether as quickly as possible by getting to the portal. On the way, you'll meet mobs from the Nether. For the board game Portal Dash, they invented a unique mob, Ancient Hoglin. On the easy difficulty level, it has 20 hearts of life. On the hard level, he has exactly 25 hearts. In general, the developers have no plans to add this mob to the game. Moreover, he doesn't have unique abilities either. In 2017, voting for mobs was introduced. One of the 4 mobs was the Hovering Inferno. This mob had a body made of shields that protected it from any attacks. It was supposed to appear in groups and attack the player in the Nether with a shockwave. Unfortunately, it was eliminated in the second round of voting. The Hovering Inferno still managed to become a part of Minecraft, only in a different game, Minecraft Dungeons. But there, he was given a different name, Wildfire. Initially, he was supposed to become part of the paid add-on Flames of the Nether, but the developers didn't have time to add him, and just left his statue in one of the locations. Later, he did make it into the game in the seasonal adventure Luminous Night. The Nether Fortress was first revealed by Jeb. He tweeted out a few screenshots. The first one showed a little bit of the new structure, but on the second screenshot, everyone could clearly see it in all its glory. In November 2013, the music update was released. In total, as many as 17 new tracks from the composer C418 were added. 4 music tracks were added for the Nether. I told you that Notch didn't really want to use existing religious names, but in fact, before version 1.13 in the game, there was a biome called Hell. Later, it was renamed to Nether. After all, it turns out they were using religious names. After getting into the Nether, the flow of time on the overworld completely freezes. Unless, of course, you're playing a single-player game, so essentially, Nether is a timeless space. Each player can safely get to the ceiling of the Nether. To do this, all you have to do is dig all the way to the top and break as much netherrack as possible, and then throw an ender pearl. In this way, you'll sort of teleport through the blocks. The piglins hunt the hoglins. After killing a hoglin, the piglins have a 10% chance of starting their victory dance. They simply shake their heads and raise their arms. The more piglins there are after a kill, the higher the chance it happens. The Nether in the Legacy Console Edition was completely limited, surrounded by a wall of bedrock. The size of the Nether depended on the size of the overworld. The classic size was 1:3, with 1:6 for mediums and 1:8 for large. Henrik Nyberg, one of the former developers, posted on his channel a small snippet with the victory dance of the hoglins. Of course, it was a joke and nobody planned to add such a thing to the game, but in general, it was very funny. The ancient debris is actually a very toxic block that infects the Nether. In order to sanitize the environment, the developers specifically added the Crimson and Warped Forest biome, all because mushrooms grow there, which even in the real world help to sanitize the external environment. For the entire period of cooperation between Minecraft and the LEGO company, only 12 LEGO sets that were released were fully dedicated to the Nether. In older versions of Minecraft, zombie pigmen could occasionally appear in the overworld near the portals to Nether. Notch first sent versions of Minecraft to gaming news portals so they could test the new update in advance, the Nether to be exact. These two news sites were PC Gamer and Indie Games. They demonstrated the new dimension as well as the portal activation. On April 1st, 2011, the ThinkGeek team, in order to prank their audience, released a fake advertisement for their new product, USB Desktop Nether Portal. It was supposed to serve as an infinite space for documents. If you still want to get yourself a real portal to the Nether, there's an option. For just $49.95, you can get yourself a Nether portal that will serve you as your night lamp. It even has glitter in it. A user under the nickname McLee in 2010 proposed the concept of a pigman to Notch. It was meant to look like a regular human pig. Notch liked the concept so much that he even gave him a special bacon cape. Eventually, of course, he took it away as other users started asking for unique capes too. One of the older developers, Michael Stoke, once planned to add small portals to the Nether, only 3x4 blocks in size. He even showed a screenshot, but of course it didn't make it into the final release. Would you like to see such portals in the game? A few years ago, Mojang and Mattel teamed up to promote Minecraft figures and created a mini-series. In the last series, one of the quests was to go through Nether fighting monsters. They eventually refused to go through it. At the moment, there are only 26 types of destroyed portals in Minecraft. 13 for the overworld and 13 for the Nether. Near each destroyed portal you can find a treasure chest. To me, most valuable item there is a golden enchanted apple. You can find it with a 1.5% chance, but remarkably you can find the bell in this chest with the same chance. In the old Pocket Edition of Minecraft there was no Nether. Instead there was a special structure called the Nether Spire. Nether's ruined portals are generated in every Nether biome, as well as every overworld biome. The exception is the deep dark biome. Portals cannot be found there. In older versions of the Pocket Edition of Minecraft, there was a special structure that players had to build. It was called Nether Reactor. It could be used to summon the Nether Spire to the overworld. In that same old version, they added an unusual block, luminous obsidian. It couldn't be created, but only mined from the Nether Spire. Its only function was to emit light with a power of 12 units. In order for the Nether Reactor to work and create the spire, it was necessary to obtain a special block, the core. It could be created from only 6 ingots of iron and 3 diamonds. Giant Nether portals only have a 5% chance of appearing in both the Nether and the overworld. As I said before, there's no tutorial in the Java edition of the game. We have to learn by looking at the game world. For this purpose, the developers have added jockeys and striders. With a small chance, a zombified piglin can appear riding a strider. In his hands, he'll hold a fungus and a fishing rod. Thus, as if to tell the players what it takes to swim across the lava lakes. Bastion and Nether Fortress cannot appear near each other, unless their region borders touch. If you see such a thing, consider yourself very lucky. Sometimes 2 or more fortresses can appear next to each other, or even inside each other, forming an even larger Nether fortress. This location in the fortress is called the Lava Well Room. Yeah, it turns out to be a well. If you take the source of lava, there's even a space there, but be careful. If you break a block, you can fall down. I've already told you that the fortress cannot appear near the bastion. But there's another interesting fact. The probability that a fortress will appear instead of a bastion is exactly 40%, while in Bedrock it's 33.3%. I think you have noticed that sometimes there may not be a room with the Nether word and a fortress. This is all due to a bug that the developers have been unable to fix for about 3 years now. Giant mushrooms are essentially trees, therefore the purple and distorted mushrooms are saplings, but there's no way they can grow on their own without the player and bone meal. When you're mining ancient debris somewhere at great depths and encounter a single block of lava, it's not a game bug, it's just the way it's designed. The developers intentionally added them and even gave them a name, Hidden Lava. In the overworld, ancient fossils count as generated features. Among the generated features are also trees, desert wells, and many other things, but in the Nether they're just structures. The Nether fortress consists of only 12 rooms. From those is generated into a giant tangled structure. Piglin Brute was invented much later than the official update. Because of it, the developers decided to make a special minor update. At the moment, there are only 11 mobs in the Nether. If you count jockeys, there are 14. Piglin Brute has 25 life hearts, while the regular one has only 8 hearts. This is all because of the extra protection of his left arm. The golden plate serves as a sort of shield, deflecting hits from opponents. Ancient debris is the only ore in Minecraft that has an explosion resistance of 12 1200 units. The piglin brood is the only monster in the Nether that doesn't respawn after being killed. They're only generated in combination with bastions. Ancient debris is actually the remnants of the mining activities of the piglins, who mined all the original netherite ore. So yeah, the original netherite ore existed. What did the piglins use it for? That's a mystery. Fun fact about hunting regular and piglin broods. In the Bedrock edition of Minecraft, they can join the Hoglin hunt, while in Java they cannot be part of the event. There's a tiny chance that you'll be able to find a huge deposit of ancient debris that'll consist of 20 blocks. Generation can create a cluster of 5 debris and then connect them in the 4 corners of the chunks. In one of the snapshots for version 1.16, Striders had a texture with a fin. Unfortunately, the fin was not visible. In the next snapshot, the fin was removed. Gust has this name because of Howard Lovecraft. The thing is that in English, gust is an archaic word meaning ghostly. Striders were added as a vehicle to move around lava lakes. This has been confirmed by the developers themselves. In the Bedrock edition of Minecraft, baby piglins can imitate adult piglins when they start making angry sounds. It was planned that Striders would have their own unique armor and a saddle, but this was abandoned. Anyway, we'll get armor for wolves. Nether has the largest number of unique environment sounds, as many as 126 pieces. In comparison, there are only 41 sounds in the overworld and in the end. In 2023, a new game in the Minecraft universe was released, namely Minecraft Legends, in which different creatures from the Nether try to take over the overworld. An extremely large number of new monsters have been invented for this game, some of which will probably become part of the original game. Originally, Strider was supposed to jump convulsively like a fish on land after coming out of lava. After that, it would slowly lose health. The developers abandoned this solution because it looked pretty creepy. In Minecraft Legends, piglins can move around the overworld without fear of being zombified. This was explained by the developers themselves. It's because they inhale the spores of the Nether word. Many players began to ask Mojang about how the piglins in the Nether create crossbows because they use a string that cannot be found in this dimension, to which the developers simply added a drop in the form of a string to Strider. In the game files, there is a sound of gust, which is not used in the game to this day. You can listen to it. I think many people know the hoglins are very afraid of warped mushrooms. The developers stated that they avoid them because of their unpleasant smell, and activated portals just irritate them with their weird sounds. Some of the gust sounds used in the game were made by the cat of composer C418 when he tried to pet it while it was sleeping. He recorded them, processed them, and added them to the game. Here's some of the first concept art for Nether update. It shows the giant warts that eventually became separate biomes with mushrooms. The LA was originally supposed to be part of Nether's ecosystem, but the developers just didn't have time to implement it. That's why they put it forward for a vote for mobs, where it won. The developers planned that the Nether update would be number 1.13, but in the end they decided to create an aquatic update. A separate paid DLC called Flames of the Nether was released for Minecraft Dungeon. In it, piglins and wither skeletons fight side by side against players. The developers later attributed this to the fact that they were affected by Arch-Illager Orb of Dominance particles. The development team created a special guidebook on how to behave in the Nether properly. It was released in 2017. Unfortunately, now there's mostly outdated information. In the second novel written by Tracy Baptiste called Minecraft the Crash, the main characters were constantly chased by Enderman. The main characters ran away from them and even tried to hide in the Nether. But because of some problems I don't want to spoil, they didn't succeed. In the third book, which was written by Mur Lafferty, called Minecraft The Lost Journals, almost all the action took place in the Nether. The main characters were looking for a wizard who lives in this dimension to return to their world. Minecraft Mob Squad Never Say Nether is the 11th Minecraft novel and the second written by Delilah Dawson. The entire plot of this book is built around Nether. There's an unofficial Minecraft recipe book in which you can find a recipe for a delicious dessert, Nether portal rolls. It looks perfect, but I haven't made them yet. Wow, the video came out really very long and unusual. I enjoyed searching for information and facts, but it took a really long time to do it. You can thank me with your like, comment, and also share this video with your friends. While you're waiting for the next video, you can watch these. They're also very interesting. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and hit that notification bell. See you in the next one!